There's a small town in the middle of nowhere, tucked deep into the Appalachian Mountains, called Hollow Creek. It's one of those places that seems like it hasn't changed in decades. The air is thick with history, and the woods that surround it, well, they're known for being different. People don't venture into the pines after sunset, not if they want to stay in one piece. The legend of the Whispering Pines has been passed down from generation to generation. It's a story that the older folks whisper about around campfires, hoping to scare the young ones into staying away from the woods. But as with all legends, there are always a few who think they're invincible. It was the summer of 2003 when one of those invincible ones decided to prove the legend was just that, a legend. His name was Matt, a 16-year-old from the town, known for being a bit of a troublemaker. He'd always loved to challenge the weird and unexplained. The more mysterious, the better. And the Whispering Pines? Well, that was the ultimate challenge. The night Matt decided to go into the woods, the air was unnervingly still. The usual chirping of crickets and the rustling of leaves was eerily absent. It was almost as if the forest itself knew something was about to happen. He gathered his things, a flashlight, some snacks, and his trusty old pocket knife. Matt didn't believe in ghosts or curses. He just thought the whole thing was a bunch of silly stories told by people who didn't understand the world. Around midnight, he set out, walking down the old dirt path that led into the forest. As he ventured deeper into the woods, the trees grew thicker, their twisted branches blocking out what little light remained from the moon. The air grew colder, the ground soft and damp beneath his boots. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching him, but he pushed it aside. He'd been walking for about an hour when he noticed something odd. The trees were different now. They were older, twisted, almost gnarled. Their bark seemed to shimmer in the moonlight, and the shadows beneath them were darker. A strange sensation crawled up Matt's spine. The woods felt alive, as if they were trying to communicate something to him. That's when he heard it. A faint whisper. It sounded like voices, but not quite. It was more like a murmur, a hum that seemed to come from the very ground beneath his feet. Matt froze, his breath caught in his throat. He tried to convince himself it was just the wind, but the more he listened, the more the whispers became distinct. They were calling his name. Matt. The voice was low and breathy, almost pleading. Matt. He turned quickly, shining his flashlight into the darkness, but there was nothing there. The woods were silent once again, save for the rustling of the leaves in the breeze. But Matt couldn't shake the feeling that something had just been standing right behind him. For a moment, he considered turning back, but then the rebellious side of him took over. He was here now, and he wasn't going to leave until he'd seen it for himself, the truth behind the legend. He kept walking. The path began to narrow as the trees grew closer together, their branches clawing at his jacket. The whispers returned, louder this time, echoing around him like a chorus of voices. Come closer. The voice was seductive, soft, but with a chilling undertone that made Matt's skin crawl. It was coming from all directions now, wrapping around him like a cold fog. He stumbled forward, his heart pounding in his chest. And then he saw it. A figure standing at the edge of the path, bathed in the dim light of his flashlight. It was a woman, dressed in tattered white clothing, her long hair wild and unkempt, her face pale and gaunt. Her eyes were black as coal, and her mouth stretched into a crooked smile. "Who are you?" Matt asked, his voice shaking. The woman didn't answer. Instead, she tilted her head to one side, and the whispers grew louder, filling his ears, pressing against his skull like 1,000 voices. "You shouldn't have come here," she finally said, her voice like a distant echo. "You never should have come." Matt backed away slowly, his mind racing. He wanted to run, but his legs felt like lead, unable to move. The figure stepped closer, the cold air around her thickening with every step. "You've awakened them," the woman hissed. "Now they will come for you." Suddenly, the ground beneath Matt's feet began to tremble, and he could hear something moving through the forest, something large. The trees around him seemed to groan as if in pain, and the whispers grew to frantic cries. Matt didn't know what was happening, but he knew he had to leave. With all his strength, he turned and ran, the sound of the woman's eerie laughter following him like a shadow. The path he had been following was now completely gone, replaced by thick underbrush and tangled vines. The trees closed in on him from all sides, and the whispers continued to chase him, growing louder, faster. Then he saw it. A pair of glowing eyes staring at him from the darkness. It was followed by another and another, until the entire forest seemed to be filled with them. Creatures, shadows moving within shadows, eyes glinting in the darkness, just out of reach of his flashlight. His breath came in ragged gasps as he stumbled forward, the forest closing in on him like a living nightmare. The eyes seemed to be getting closer, and the whispers, no, now they were screams, were deafening. He couldn't tell which way was up or down, and his vision was blurring. Suddenly, the ground beneath him gave way, and he fell into darkness. Matt woke up on the edge of the forest, his body bruised and bloodied, the daylight just beginning to filter through the trees. He had no memory of how he'd gotten there, but the forest was silent now, unnervingly still. He could feel something was missing, like a piece of him had been taken. When he finally made it back to Hollow Creek, he was a changed person. He didn't speak about what happened in the woods, but everyone noticed the change. He never went near the forest again, and he avoided speaking about it at all costs. The whispering voices, the eyes, the shadows, they stayed with him, haunting him in his dreams, reminding him that the Whispering Pines weren't just a legend. They were real, and they were waiting for anyone else foolish enough to enter their domain. There are still people in Hollow Creek who laugh at the stories of the Whispering Pines, but not Matt, and not anyone who's heard the whispers themselves. Because once you hear them, there's no turning back. The forest is always watching, and it's always waiting.